Welcome to the Morning Edition Extra. I'm Adelmi Ruiz, coming to you from Alaska's News Sources Digital Desk. Thank you so much for joining me this morning and for starting off your day with Alaska's News Source. Starting us off, we have meteorologist Aaron Morrison, who's going to give us a breakdown over what our weather is going to look like and as we head into the rest of our week. Aaron.
Thanks, Adelmi. We continue to see that ridge of high pressure across the state, which is going to keep things fairly quiet for a good portion of Alaska. And this is going to also keep temperatures seasonal for some locations with slightly above seasonal values for parts of Alaska. Lingering fog remains through southeast, and of course the dry weather pattern, thanks to that ridge of high pressure, will stay with us for the time being as well. Temperatures across the state as a whole, shortage of some sub-zero values this morning. Now we are seeing it as you head along the slope, parts of the eastern interior, north of the Steese Highway, and then out towards Tok, seeing those sub-zero values. But as far as the rest of the state, we are above zero this morning with some of the warmest conditions out towards the Aleutians, where temperatures are sitting in the 30s and the 40s. But we are fairly quiet as we start off this morning. Yes, we are holding on to some cloud coverage. We'll call it mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies for a good portion of the state, although the interior may actually hold on to a bit more in the way of mostly cloudy conditions. Now, while it is quiet, notice these speckled white spots popping up. This is some light snow showers lifting north towards the Alaska range. Now, while it is largely holding on to just some passing snow showers, we could see some localized areas of some freezing drizzle embedded within that. This is going to be very hit or miss. Not everyone will see it, but due to the nature of the atmosphere as well as above the surface where we are seeing a warm nose, that will lead to some localized areas of some freezing drizzle. Across South Central, it's quiet. We are seeing areas out towards the open waters of the Gulf of Alaska, as well as out towards Kodiak, where we could see a stray shower or two, but largely expecting to continue to hold on to this stretch of quiet weather. What we saw yesterday, more of what we're going to see today and through a good portion of this week as we continue to take a bite out of that bitter cold weather. You can see temperatures today will warm into the mid to upper 20s later this afternoon. Coastal areas of the Kenai, Prince William Sound, and Kodiak will top out in the upper 30s to near 40 degrees. But we are going to stay dry across most of the state for the foreseeable future. It's really not until this weekend and into next week where we will begin to see a gradual return to some rain, if not wintry mix across the state. Of course, here across South Central, you can see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies out towards southeast. By the tail end of this week, we will begin to tap into some rain and snow building back in across the panhandle. But until then, enjoy the drier conditions. We'll see highs breaking into the 20s and the 30s today, with the exception of the Copper River Basin, which will stay in the teens. We'll see some light breeze across South Central outside of Seward and Whittier, which could see winds of about 20 to 35 miles per hour. But there's that 7-day forecast, near identical conditions each and every afternoon as we warm into the mid-20s, mid to upper 20s, overnight lows in the teens. We shave off a few degrees by this weekend on into early next week, but we'll see some snow returning as early as about Monday.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy took center stage Monday as Alaskans paused to remember his fight for justice and the work still ahead. The Alaska Black Caucus and local leaders held an MLK celebration. Joe Allgood has that story. One second.
Let us love each other.
Honoring the late Dr. King's legacy, a multicultural presentation at East High School celebrated that which he fought for.
It is so important to continue to promote justice, which was really what Dr. Martin Luther King was all about. Again, justice, equity, equality, those things that, might not be as present as they once were.
And while King may not have visited the last frontier, the rights he fought for extend to the 49th state.
Because I like to be a voice for those people that don't like to speak up. And a lot of times, if you look at the cultural differences up here in the state of Alaska, it's quite different from the lower 48.
King's work ultimately led to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, still upheld in part by the Civil Rights Office of the Alaska Department of Transportation.
Our mission is to promote fair and equity. We want to ensure that everybody has the same opportunities to work and bid on federally funded projects.
Considering King was thrust into national fame during the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955, his road to equity began in large part on the road.
Everyone should have opportunities to work, live, play, be able to use our roads just as much as anybody else.
A road that we are still traveling.
Everyone deserves, to be treated fairly, no matter what. And that's just the bottom line. At the end of the day, we're all people.
A message worth remembering.
We cannot give up hope. We must keep hope alive. And I think, again, events like this that bring us together as a community are positive messaging, and that's something we need more of.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
And let me get my script ready. Okay. And no one was injured at a fire at the Cannery Lodge in Kenai Thursday night, but one firefighter sustained minor injuries from a slip and fall at the scene the next day. That's according to Fire Chief Jay Teague with the City of Kenai Fire Department, who also says multiple buildings on the property are considered a total loss.
Our first tactical priority on scene was to protect that building, as it is one of the main assets for the Cannery Lodge, and it is also a historical building, one of the original historical structures that has been on that site now for over 100 years.
Kenai fire officials say multiple agencies responded to a call Thursday evening due to the size of a fire affecting multiple structures on the property of the Cannery Lodge. Officials say the fire started in a two-story building used for laundry and housekeeping supplies, and it spread to two single-story motel-style buildings, all of which were a total loss. However, the lodge's restaurant did not burn.
It was pretty difficult for fire crews to operate without any injuries. We were, like the rest of Alaska, working on top of a few inches of solid ice. And then also the water accumulation from firefighting operations was also making it difficult.
Ice, not the only concern as winds fueled the flames, but also blew them away from the restaurant building. The fire department says one team member was injured the next day and is now cleared to return to duty. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but he says no foul play is suspected. Interior Alaska now getting its natural gas from the North Slope instead of the Cook Inlet, a change that is expected to improve access and reliability. At an event last week, community members and politicians celebrated the move, which started in earnest in December, with regular deliveries averaging around 70,000 gallons of liquefied natural gas a day. These truck deliveries go to Interior Gas Utility, which supplies natural gas as a heating source to 3,600 people. IGU's general manager says the utility set an all-time distribution record on January 8th, sending out 138,000 gallons of natural gas.
We received in 2023 $4 million to specifically expand in areas of where the air is the worst, which is currently in North Pole. So with that funding in the last 2 years, we've installed about 17 miles of additional main line, enabling us to have access to a lot more potential consumers.
Between its facilities in Fairbanks and North Pole, the utility has 5.5 million gallons of storage space for natural gas.
We received in 2023
In Fairbanks, a small business has decided to turn their tacos into a win-win for the community by donating part of the proceeds from sales. Frozen Smoke Barbecue began an effort to raise funds for Hunter Elementary School's meal program by donating 10% of the proceeds from their taco sales. According to Frozen Smoke owner Ted Jones, the idea came from a customer, and it's something It is something they'll be doing for the next 2 Mondays when tacos are on the menu. But Jones says the desire to give back to kids who rely on school meals is something very personal.
It really kind of hit home because I was on the school lunch program growing up, and there was times where I couldn't eat at times. So to help out this in the community was a huge thing for me.
Jones says he wants to continue this effort by dedicating 3 Mondays each month to raising funds for other nonprofits in town, such as youth shelters. And now turning to Capitol coverage, our political reporter Will Courtney is on his way to the state capitol getting ready for the Alaska legislative session that starts today. He'll be tracking all the developing political storylines across the state, but first, here's a preview.
I'm in Haines, Alaska, heading to Juneau, where before lawmakers are a litany of a whole bunch of different policy objectives going into this session that begins on Tuesday. First and foremost, the LNG pipeline, clearing the way with bills to make sure that pipeline actually happens. There's the Rural Health Transformation Fund, where lawmakers have before them the objective to make sure that the laws in Alaska abide by the Rural Health Transformation Fund created by the Big Beautiful Bill. Then, of course, in Alaska, a tightening budget. It's going to be really important that lawmakers are able to balance the budget going into 2026. Now, those are just a few of the items on the agenda. Voters in Alaska also watching very closely how much their PFD is going to be in 2026 as well. So live on our website right now, we do have an expanded article going into all the different policy initiatives, as well as a new edition of Alaska's Political Pipeline with the new House Minority Leader, Delina Johnson. Will Courtney, Alaska's News Source.
And like Will said, listen to Alaska's Political Pipeline for a deeper dive as the session continues. The latest episode available now on our website, mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Recreational halibut fishermen could soon see their limits cut in half. A proposal to reduce private halibut catches goes to a vote this week with the International Pacific Halibut Commission. According to Commission Chairman John Kirkland, the halibut population is struggling. The proposal out of Seattle by the Fishing Vessel Owners Association aims to help the health of Pacific halibut in Alaska. It would cut the daily limit for private fishermen from 2 fish to just 1. But sport fishermen are pushing back, including a charter captain who opposes the move.
It's mind-boggling to me that a private person will be able to catch less than a person on a charter. That doesn't make sense to me. You know, we're out there doing it to make money, and we can catch more than that. So if you pay me, you can catch more. It goes against everything to me for the most restricted person to be the private person.
For Alaskans, catching halibut and being able to put some up like that is a big part of, you know, us providing food for ourselves.
Private fishermen say the proposal should impact commercial trawlers that discard almost 9 million pounds of halibut each year as bycatch. We've reached out to the Alaska Commercial Halibut Coalition, but we're unable to get a response. The proposal also faces pushback from Representative Sarah Vance and Fish and Game Commissioner Vincent Lang, who call it inappropriate for IPHC consideration at the upcoming annual meeting. The commission will vote Thursday, and public comments are being accepted online. President Trump is upping the ante in his bid to take over Greenland and telling Norway's leader that since he lost out on the Nobel Peace Prize, he doesn't feel obligated to think only of peace and can now think about what is, quote, good and proper for the United States. That as European Union countries talk options to counter the president's tariff threats with trade measures of their own, while one of the president's staunchest allies in Congress is downplaying the chance of a military takeover of Greenland. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington. Excuse me, that is the wrong story that we have lined up for you. That story will come a little bit later on. But this story is the one that we spoke about in the morning edition when we were talking about what's coming up ahead in the Morning Edition Extra. A monumental case will be before the U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday that could determine the independence of the Federal Reserve. Our White House correspondent John Decker, who is also a member of the Supreme Court bar, has the story.
President Trump, since being sworn in 1 year ago, has sought to expand his presidential power. And in a case before the Supreme Court on Wednesday, justices will decide how far a president can go in exerting his influence over the Federal Reserve. In August of last year, President Trump announced his intention to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook, accusing her of mortgage fraud, an allegation she denied. Cook then sued the president, arguing that the Federal Reserve Act allows removal only for cause, a standard that she says has not been met. But Georgetown law professor Michelle Goodwin says the White House argues that cause is not even necessary.
The administration has been making a consistent argument throughout executive orders and removals, which is that the president has the authority because he is the executive and he has the authority to take on these issues such as this, and that Congress can't intervene, and in this case, not even the court can intervene.
A U.S. district judge and a federal appeals court panel have both granted preliminary injunctions blocking Cook's firing and preserving her position. Conservative Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh has long been concerned with preserving the independence of the Fed.
That's the real concern, is that if the Supreme Court sides with this administration, then they lose not only their independence potentially, but also their legitimacy domestically and abroad.
A ruling for President Trump would grant presidents more control over the Fed and its power to lower and raise interest rates. A ruling for Cook would reinforce the independence of the Fed from political pressure. At the Supreme Court, I'm John Decker.
Four months after 10-year-old Jaden Hansen died in a tragic ATV rollover, a child care center is dedicating a brand new facility in his honor. Georgina Fernandez takes us inside Jaden's center and the promise to never let his story fade.
Every corner you turn,
And he loved his Legos.
there's a reminder of 10-year-old Jaden Hansen.
He was such a sweet boy to all of the children.
His personality,
He was just the clown in the family.
and his gentle smile remembered forever on these walls.
It was just to honor him.
Just over 4 months ago, Jaden died in a side-by-side ATV rollover last August.
It was a rough one. It was rough for our teachers. That first week coming back to the daycare, all of his friends, I mean, there were just so many tears.
Jaden was Dee's Little Angels Daycare Center's longest attending student. His mother, Karen, says the daycare played a huge role in his life.
They're family to us. They've just poured into our lives, always been there.
And now his family is making sure Jaden's story isn't forgotten.
So we wanted to keep his spirit alive, and we wanted to honor him so he can continuously be at all of our facilities. So that's how we decided to name this facility Jaden Center.
And in doing so, Jaden Center is filled with his photos, old notes, and artwork everywhere.
As a parent who's, grieving, it's very important for me to know that people are still remembering my sweet boy.
And Jaden's famous Lego design.
And in the daycare, he was not allowed. They weren't allowed to talk about guns or make guns with Legos, and my son did. So he got reprimanded, and he simply told the teacher that it was not a gun, it was actually a glue gun.
And they rebuilt it in his honor.
And that Lego gun
the hot glue gun, that was our all-time favorite story of Jaden.
And here, within these walls, Jaden's vibrant spirit and the love that surrounds him will continue to inspire forever. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Jaden Center welcomes everyone to come by, learn about his inspiring story, and take a tour whether you have kids or not. And from the basketball court to the football field, our athlete of the week continues to reach new milestones. A state champion from Lathrop High School is Division I bound. From Fairbanks, Adrian Peterson has the story.
There are just a handful of kids from the city of Fairbanks that have made it to the highest levels of D1 football. It's a pretty rare treat.
Entering high school, Earl Parker became a well-known name in the Golden Heart City playing basketball. But when he became a junior, Parker picked up football and stuck with it.
It was a crazy transition, to be honest. Honestly, I thought I was going to be a basketball player. But, you know, Coach Baylash and a couple other seniors like Jaron and Eddie, they was begging me to come out.
During his time with the Malamutes, Parker won 2 state titles in 2021 and 22.
And it was like the best decision I ever made in my life. This school, team, city, state, it means everything to me.
The victories leading him to the next stage, playing college ball at the junior level. Having now come back from 2 years at Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, where he even played in national games.
It meant everything to me, especially just being from a small town and just, you know, walking onto the stadium, seeing how big the stadium was, the Jumbotron, recording you on ESPN. So it was like I got a little glimpse of what my reality could really be.
Parker now looks up as he will begin playing Division I ball at the University of Utah in the fall.
I feel like it's just really exciting, just having a crowd, 66,000 people, and just how much they care about football out there. It's a lot.
With 2 more years of college ball to go, Parker will soon set his eyes on a pro career. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
It's a race that breaks machines and pushes people to the limit. And this year, as Augusta McDonald reports, one team isn't just chasing a finish line, they're chasing a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
With just 1 month until the kickoff, Shayna Lapham is getting ready to take on one of the toughest challenges in snow machine racing.
I just know it's going to be hard and grueling and a big adventure. And we're just going to do it either way.
But she'll have her dad right beside her. He's raced with his sons before, but now Shayna wants her shot.
I'm just really excited to be racing with my daughter this year. And I think this will kind of complete the trifecta for me. You know, I don't know how many people can say they've raced with all 3 of their kids in Iron Dog, at least at a pro level.
They'll ride together over 2,000 miles from Big Lake to Nome and ending in Fairbanks.
It's kind of a unique opportunity. You know, a lot of people go out there and they wouldn't spend the time or money unless they thought they could win the event. And so they're racing for trophies. I'm going out there with the idea that I'm going to make memories and stuff that are irreplaceable. And so it's pretty special.
Shayna says even though she and her dad are just alike, he's always set her up for success.
I'm excited. I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be just a great adventure, and we're going to go through a roller coaster of emotions together, I'm sure. Just because of our personalities together. They're very similar, so.
Iron Dog begins February 12th. Augusta McDonald, Alaska's news source.
The College Football Playoff National Championship ended with a historic win and celebrations breaking out far beyond the stadium. Fans erupted at watch parties across the country, and as the Indiana Hoosiers defeated the Miami Hurricanes 27-21 to claim the national championship. Cheers followed every big play as Indiana completed one of the most unlikely worst first turnarounds in college football history. Led by Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza, the Hoosiers pulled ahead in the 4th quarter and held on for a perfect 16-0 season. The victory denied Miami a 6th national title and sent Indiana fans into celebration well into the night. A new study may be the first to describe tool use in a pet cow. Austrian researchers studied a Swiss brown cow, Veronica. This after her owner had observed her over the last decade picking up sticks with her mouth. She would maneuver the ends to reach areas of her body she couldn't otherwise reach, so a team of animal behavior experts gave her a brush. They found she used it as a multi-purpose tool. She would use the side with bristles to rub at the thick skin of her upper body, and she would use the blunt handle for areas of her lower body where her skin is more delicate, such as her udder. The lead author says the research could be evidence that farm animals' cognitive abilities are greater than once thought. And here's a splash of color in the middle of winter. Amsterdam is marking the start of tulip season by transforming a city square into a giant garden to celebrate Dutch National Tulip Day. Thousands showed up to pick free flowers, with 200,000 up for grabs. Organizers say the goal is simple: spread some joy, one tulip at a time, and there's plenty of happiness to go around. The Netherlands produces billions of tulips each year, making it the world's largest tulip grower. And my best friend actually lives in the Netherlands right now, and I'm very much hoping to go visit her. I didn't realize I should have gone today because these tulips look gorgeous. And developers want to bring a little bit of Las Vegas to the DC area. Maryland officials have announced plans to build a venue like the Las Vegas Sphere at National Harbor in Prince George's County, overlooking the Potomac River. The new Sphere would still have the exterior light display, but only have about 6,000 seats. State and local leaders say it could help replace lost entertainment venues in the area. State lawmakers still need to sign off on the project before it moves forward, but developers say if it gets the green light, the new mini Sphere could be open by 2030. And that wraps up the Morning Edition Extra for this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Apologies if you joined in a little bit late because that push alert was sent a little bit later than we would have hoped for. We apologize for that, but we will work on it. And thank you so much for joining us nonetheless. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later tomorrow for another Morning Edition Extra, and we will see you again at noon. Have a good day.